Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to counter Noam Chomsky's book, Failed States. Purchased and read this book. All right. Okay. Noam Chomsky talks about in this book that North Korea is probably building nuclear weapons or trying to get nuclear weapons for defensive purposes. Okay. When North Korea and South Korea became separate countries, okay, and when South Korea said no to being unified under a communist regime, North Korea cut off electricity to the South, okay? Also, North Korea mobilized a lot of their armies months in advance before the Korean War and got on the loudspeakers promising land reform to South Korea. Okay, that is unprovoked aggression right there. That is extremely unprovoked aggression, okay? Extremely unprovoked aggression. And North Korea needs to be held accountable for that. Okay, and that's not defensive purposes. It's the same with Iran. That talks about Iran maybe building nuclear weapons for defensive purposes. Okay, Iran is responsible for terror attacks on the Jewish cultural centers in Buenos Aires, Argentina. That we learned through the 9/11 Commission report that Iran provided substantial information to the 9/11 hijackers. Okay, and then also Chomsky goes as far as to saying that Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda may have attacked the United States on September 11th and for defensive purposes. Because according to British journalists, that the U.S. and the UK threatened airstrikes on the Taliban and Al-Qaeda months before 9/11 happened. Okay, let's say the story is true. Really, if you think it's not, let's say it is true. Okay, there was an attack of the USS Cole in Yemen. Okay, the U.S. ship, USS Cole. Al-Qaeda also attacked U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. This was all before 9/11. And they also bombed the World Trade Center in 1993. Okay, if anything, that is a defensive mechanism on the U.S. and the UK's part, not Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda's part. Okay, the Iraq War, I mean, you can have your opinions about it, but after the Iraq War started, it really pressured Gaddafi, who was leader of the country of Libya at the time, to end his weapons of mass destruction program. Chomsky makes no mention of that in his book, Failed States. He talks about the negative aspects of the Iraq War, but he does not talk about how it pressured Gaddafi, who was dictator of Libya at the time, to end his weapons of mass destruction program. Doesn't talk about it. And doesn't talk about how Jordanian terrorist belonged to Al-Qaeda, al-Zarqawi, he operated in Iraq before the war, before the Iraq War. Doesn't talk about that. Chomsky's not telling the whole side of the story in that aspect. Also, he talks about how Japan may have attacked Pearl Harbor for defensive purposes, which is not true because, yeah, the U.S. did place an embargo on Japan. There were articles in newspapers that said the U.S. had enough B-17s to bomb Japan. This was before Pearl Harbor. But at the same time, Japan was committing horrible atrocities against China and Manchuria, and also against Korea. And the U.S. placed an embargo because they were tired of that. They were tired of all the atrocities that Japan was committing against those countries. So Chomsky makes no mention of that. So Pearl Harbor was not a defensive attack by the Japanese. September 11th was not a defensive attack by Osama bin Laden. And Chomsky makes a case for that, which is not a true case. So, hope everyone's doing well. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, and before I let you go, bye-bye, this was, it's heart right here. It's got a cross right here. Family gave it to me. It says, God loves Brett. So, anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Take care. God bless, and bye-bye. Bye-bye.